Hey everybody, welcome back. Welcome back. This is the Rasball Fantasy Baseball Podcast. We are coming to you right meow. I am Beadon. Over there across the screen from me, if you're watching us on youtube.com/rasballfantasy, is the fantasy master Lothario himself. Now, how are you doing over there, Gray?
Oh man, you know what? I am flying high still from my March draft where I had the third pick and Tatis fell to me. Oh, I'm feeling so good, man. I'm still like on top of the world. I'm basically prancing through a prairie of flowers, man. I'm just like, I feel like Julie Andrews and Sound of Music, and I'm just like twirling around, enjoying my time with Fernando Tatis Jr. It is so wonderful.
Yes. So if you haven't heard yet, Fernando Tatis Jr. was suspended 80 games for the PEDs. Said he was taking a anabolic steroid to treat ringworm. Y'all let you take that for whatever you want. 32 games into next year, just based on the games that San Diego had left in this regular season. So Gray, I mean, let's talk about this in general. Like, what are we doing? Obviously, this season he's done. But for next
What?
year,
Wait, what?
for next year, like, are we?
Okay. No, okay.
I
Now,
mean,
hold on a second, Beaton.
all
Now,
right.
say for instance, the Padres, their first 2 months of the season are declared ineligible, and they have to play a quadruple header every day of September. Wouldn't Tatis come back? Should I hold on to him still? Tell me he's still gonna be okay.
Yeah, he's gonna come back for one game, Gray, and give you 35 home runs, 35 steals in one
Oh,
game.
this is great. Oh, that's good news. Oh, this is good news. Oh, I feel good now. Oh, thank you, B Don. Oh,
So
thank
you
you,
will
B
go
Don.
from 7th in the league to 5th.
Okay. So here's my overall thoughts here is I'm like, maybe I am ostriching my head into the sand, and I want to believe Fernando Tatis Jr. is not a cheater. I want to believe it so bad. Okay, so maybe I'm being naive, possibly naive, but listen. Okay, so he wasn't playing games, so there was no performance enhancing. There was performance possibly to feel healthy enough to get on the field. Maybe he was doing some sort of like something illegal to try and get back up to speed. Possibly. I don't know. I mean, who's to say really? Other than him, I mean, he's really the only one that knows. But if you're gonna find a ailment to tell everyone that you have, ringworm wouldn't be my top one. I'll be honest. It's like going around being like, "Hey man, I had to take Peds because I have impotence." you know, I can't get erect, so yeah, I'm taking ringworm medicine. Like, no, man, no one does that. No one says they have ringworm. It's like you say, like, oh, I accidentally like bumped my knee, or actually, you know what you say? You say you fell off a motorcycle and the doctor prescribed you this medicine. You don't say you have ringworm. No one says ringworm. It's not a cool thing to say. You don't go around saying like, "Hey man, guess what I got? Ringworm." Cool, huh? Not good. It's not like the number one excuse in the book. I don't think. I don't think you go to ringworm as your top excuse. So that's why I feel like maybe he really did have ringworm. I mean, maybe he did. Because otherwise, he would have said something else that's much cooler. Like, oh yeah, I was in a boxing match and my trainer like rubbed he rubbed cream on me and it turned out to have Peds in it. I don't know, but I'm saying you come up with a cooler excuse. So that's my first thing with Tatis. My second one is, God damn it. Why? Why did he have to wait this long to come out with the ped suspension? Like, oh my God. So in my one league where I really did get Tatis 3, my first pitcher off the board was Chris Sale. Oh, not a good league. Not doing good. Not great. Yeah, I mean, it's like this is such a nightmare. This is really like I was really hoping he would come back. And even though he was never going to give me really anything close to what I drafted him for, I was still holding out hope. I mean, I held him for 4 months. Like, it's going to be good. He's going to go 30-30 in the final month of the season. But yeah. So I don't know, man. What are we thinking for next year? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts, Pete?
Here's what I have to say about just next year. If we look at his 2021, if like he had a break from May 9th to May 19th. So we pick it up May 19th, which is about a month into the season, which is where we'll be picking up next year. He played he hit 293, 377, 626 with 33 home runs and 18 stolen bases. That's pretty solid still, Gray. I mean,
Yeah,
that's still first round worthy, even if you have to sit it out for a month and replace him with, fill in the blank at shortstop / outfield for him.
I just had a flashback, not to interrupt, but I just had a flashback to thinking about how we were all like, well, you're only going to miss a month of Acuna. He's still going to be a first round guy. He's not going to be, I mean, it's not going to be bad when he returns. He's still going to hit for power, right? Like what happened to Ronald Acuna Jr.? I mean, he's going, I looked at his stats actually yesterday. I think it was like 10 homers and 25 steals.
Mm-hmm.
When did he become Gene Segura? When did that happen? When did he become Segura? Okay, anyway, so you sound like you're in sort of the same camp as I am with Tatis, because the comments started coming in this weekend. They were like, oh, if Tatis was cheating this whole time in his career, then are we going to expect a fall off next year when he comes back? And it's like, no, I don't think so. I honestly, I feel like maybe I'm being naive, but I don't think he's been doing peds this whole time, and he's going to come back, and I think he's going to be fine. Like he's going to miss the month plus, like you mentioned. And yeah, I think he's going to be okay. I don't think I'm drafting him in the top 15 though. I mean, let's be real. I think he's probably, I would say actually, you know what? When I was thinking about this, how I was going to formulate my opinion on this, I was thinking that it might not be a bad time to draft. I might draft a team, like an NFBC team, in October or November, and draft Tatis around 75 overall. I could see him falling to that range, and then by the time March gets here, he could move up considerably, maybe into the top 40, I would say. And I do think there might be value there. I think it could be worth going, taking that flyer. But it'll really come down to price, and it'll be a matter of, if his draft price is what I think it will be, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's between 50 and 75 overall. I think that's probably worth gambling on. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, if we can get him 50 to 75, I think you're right. I think we need to do some main event drafts as soon as humanly possible and start that up. I mean, I'm guessing he goes closer to 30 to 40. Again, just because of the per game upside that he brings. There is the Acuna case where when they come back, they are also coming back off of not playing, not really being in baseball. So it's not just them sitting out and then showing up all of a sudden, fully ready to go. There's an adjustment period. We've seen it with Acuna's power. It's just not the same as we're expecting. I still expect that to kind of turn around at some point. And to your point about what I expect from Tatis, I don't believe he's been juicing this whole time. I believe he would have been caught before now if that was the case. My assumption is, and I'm not quite as crystal, glasses as you are here, Gray, but I think he took it because his rehab was a little slower than he was hoping and didn't quite recover in the time period he was looking at, and they gave him something to try and help move it along, and he got caught. So
and he
that's my thought.
decided and he went to page 300 out of 305 pages in the excuse handbook, and he was like, ringworm. That's what I'm going to tell everyone. I had ringworm.
He didn't even WebMD this, Gray. He just went to the guy in the alley. He's like, "What do you have? What do you have in the alley?"
He was like, "Hey, should I say IBS or ringworm?" It's like, Tatis, you can't say anything cooler than that. It's like, no, I want to say ringworm. Like, no, you don't. You don't want to say ringworm.
That's not a good look, Tatis. That's not a good one. You don't put that on the dating profile, dog.
Like you were having new gold teeth put in, and the dentist gave you a drug. Like, that's cool. Ringworm is not cool.
All right, Gray. So if we're looking at the players who went in that kind of range that we're talking about this year, if we're looking around the 30 range for where I said it's going to be like Tim Anderson, Salvador Perez. Remember how well that went for everybody. Aaron Judge, obviously that went great. Cedric Mullins, Trevor Story. So I could see him going in that 30 to 40 range where you get to the Trevor Stories, the Simeons, the guys who you were expecting kind of overproduced anyways. And so you're kind of expecting them to fall back, Tatis to kind of step in. That's where I'm seeing him, is that area.
No, totally. Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Not to misinterpret. I feel like October drafts, because the suspension just happened and next season's so far away. I think you might be able to get a deal on Tatis in these early drafts. In reality, I do think he's probably going to go around 30, I would say. 30 to 40 maybe. Yeah, that sounds right. Like where Aaron Judge went this year, that makes sense. I could see that. I think I'm in. I think I'm in. I mean, it's going to really depend on the price, but I think I might be in.
I was willing to take Mondesi in the 6th round. I have to be willing to take Tatis.
Right? Yeah. Right? I know. I feel like I'm already making a mistake. It's it's not even 2023 yet. I'm already dooming. I'm already dooming my next year teams. I can already see myself in 12 months being like, why did I go with Tatis? What was I thinking?
Oh man. All right. So let's move on to maybe a little bit more positive news, Gray. And that's call-ups. We got a few call-ups here. Vaugh Grissom got called up. He came up actually straight from Double-A. At High A this year, he had 74 games. He had 11 home runs, 20 stolen bases, went 312, 404, 487 at Double-A in 22 games. He had 3 home runs, 7 stolen bases. He had 363, 408, 516. He has 5 games in the majors with the Braves. He has 2 home runs already with a stolen base. He's already hitting. This is, the first week of a call-up is always a little bit, is it just them catching everybody by surprise? Is it real? And he does have the same issue as our other favorite, Brave call-up of the year, which is Michael Harris II, and that it's just really hard to climb the batting order in Atlanta.
Yeah, no, definitely. There's a lot of bats in that lineup. I think maybe because I watched him hit the home run over the monster, yeah. And then his second homer was no less impressive. Yeah, he's got some really he's got really nice power. I was expecting more speed than power, but the power was definitely there from, like you said, it could be just people catching people off guard. But I think probably in the final, 6-7 weeks that we have left, he could catch everyone off guard. And like, in September, well, I'll say this. So first I was going to say in September, there's going to be a lot of pitchers who aren't necessarily good, just, throwing to get like bad teams to the end. Like the entire Nationals rotation is going to be awful. I don't even know if the Braves face them, but it's going to be bad. Because at some point probably Josiah Gray gets shut down. And then anyway, I was going to say that, but I do wonder if Grissom is going to have issues once Albies returns, because Albies is due back at I think the first week of September. So if Albies returns, where does Grissom play? Does he get platooned in with the Rosario, Duvall, that whole DH,
Ozuna, yeah.
Ozuna, whatchamacallit, left field DH sort of mix? Does he get mixed in with that, or is Grissom moved to the bench, or is Albies just not able to go, every game? So Grissom and Albies sort of platoon a little bit. I don't know. I honestly have no idea. But unless there's an injury between now and when Albies returns, that lineup is stacked. I mean, there's no place for Grissom to play once we get to September. And it's only 2 weeks away. So, yeah, I don't know. I like Grissom, though. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think, I'm just trying to be practical. Grissom, I think, is a pickup in every league. I put a huge bid on him for Fab this week in all my leagues. I didn't have much money left, but in out of 1,000, I think I bid over $150 in multiple leagues for him, because I lost Luis Garcia on the Nationals. Abrams, who we're going to talk about, was already taken. Anyway, in my situations, Grissom was the only guy available. It's 15-team leagues, so maybe in other people's leagues, shallower leagues, maybe other guys are available. But Grissom was the guy that I tried to get. I didn't get him. He went for more than I bid. So, yeah, I mean, I think everyone is excited as I am. So I'm super excited. But, like I said, Albies returns, there's going to be an issue with playing time.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, you enjoy the ride while it's there. I put in what I could as far as bids on him, but I am also very low on funds. So he went to teams that had a little bit more money to spend than I had available to me. So good for them. They get a nice little, 2-3 week bump here. I mean, the problem is that, Albies has always crushed lefties, and that's the side that Grissom would platoon. So I kind of think he just becomes a utility infielder type, and maybe even he gets sent back down whenever, everybody's healthy again. I just don't know that they're going to continue to use him. But if he's hitting well, they may find a spot for him, just at least on the bench.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, I just looked at my Fab bids, and I didn't get Grissom in one league, but he went for $139 out of 1,000, and I got David Fletcher, who's not good. Let's be fair here. He's not great. But he does have, he is hitting at the top of the lineup. He has runs and batting average. And I got him for $11. So, I mean, it's like that rookie nookie sort of throws people into a little bit of a tizzy. And they're like, oh, Grissom. Well, I do like Grissom much more than Fletcher. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Fletcher is going to play in September, assuming he's healthy. Whereas, like we just said, we don't know if Grissom's going to play after Albies returns.
Right. So it may depend on the depth of your league, because if you can't go find another second baseman out there, if you have to drop Grissom, then you may just need to be rolling out with a David Fletcher,
Right.
even given that you may get a little bit better numbers from Grissom in the short term. So that's a depth of league thing. So you just kind of got to know your leagues there. Another call up that we've already seen this year once is C.J. Abrams, but he's moved over. He's on a new squad. He's with the Nationals. He's getting the call up. I mean, he's hit 290, 315 in AAA. Depending on whether it's Nationals or the Padres. So he's been sitting around 300. He's got the power speed combo. I mean, I don't know where he's going to slot in for the Nationals in the lineup. Personally, I don't know that he does. Who needs to be in front of him at this point, but they may not do that. What are you thinking here with C.J. Abrams? Is he above Grissom in your pecking order of call-ups?
Yeah, I mean, I think Abrams is actually going to be safer. I don't think on the FAB thing, Abrams went for 1/3 of what Grisham went for. So the excitement is definitely for Grisham, and I understand why. But Abrams, I think, could be better. I like Abrams a lot. Like even when he was called up with the Padres, he had a under 20% strikeout rate. I mean, he didn't hit for a great average, 232, but that was with a low BABIP of 276. So I think Abrams could hit, like in a short stint with the Nationals this year. What is it, like 7 weeks? He could hit 280 with maybe 5 homers and 10 steals. I mean, he could have a great final push here. I like Abrams a lot. I think he's also, it's kind of dependent a little bit on Luis Garcia. Last I heard, Luis Garcia was going to the IL and Abrams was getting called up. As we record this, that's not even 100% definite. That's just been talked about. So if Garcia goes to the IL, it sounds like his injury isn't that bad. So when he comes back, then what does, I mean, if I were the Nationals, I would just DFA Cesar Hernandez or Vargas. And they have like 15 guys they could DFA. but I would probably get rid of Hernandez, or at least push Hernandez to the bench and let Abrams play every day. So, and the Nationals are in a place where if they call up Abrams and he hits, there's no reason to send him back down because the minor league season's going to end soon. And Abrams is the future for them. They traded, Juan Soto to get him. So there's going to be there's going to be reason for them to want to see Abrams get 100 at-bats the rest of the way. So I like Abrams a lot. I look to pick up Abrams. I looked to pick up Grisham first, like I said, but I did look to pick up Abrams as well, even though I ended up not getting him. But yeah, I like him.
Yeah, and the Abrams news was it hasn't officially been transaction. They're Grissom has been up. He's already with the club, so there is a little bit of reason why he has a little bit of higher bid. But I'm with you that assuming this Abrams call up is happening, I do think he can outperform Grissom, and I would prioritize Abrams over Grissom, even though we've seen him come up and play well in his 5 games already. Like C.J. Abrams is just he's an elite prospect. He can come up and just perform immediately. Like I said, the Nationals lineup is not overly stacked. There's no reason that he can't move himself up that lineup, especially if Luis Garcia is going to miss some time. They can just swap him straight into the 2 spot. Really no adjustment needed.
Right, agreed.
All right, let's talk about a not prospect, but somebody who has landed with a new team, Franmil Reyes, my boy, who I begged the Cubs to do this last podcast, and they listened. Since joining the Cubs, he's hitting in 4 games, 353. He's already hit a home run. He's had a game-winning RBI. I mean, what's going on here, Gray? Are we back on picking up Franmil? He just needed a change of scenery, or is this just a blip?
Oh no, absolutely pick up Franmil. Yeah, if you can. Especially in deeper leagues. In the shallower leagues, I mean, it depends on kind of what your needs are, your category needs, and also your positional needs. So yeah, I like Franmil in all leagues. In shallower leagues, it more depends on your team probably, but in a deeper league, Yeah, absolutely. Pick up Franmil. I think this is one of those moves where, I was comparing it to when David Ortiz went from the Twins to the Red Sox. I don't know if Franmil Reyes is going to lead the Cubs to the promised land necessarily, and it might be, that it might be slightly overblown of me to say, compare him to David Ortiz. But if you look at like Big Papi's numbers on the Twins, he was actually on the Twins longer than Franmil was on the Guardians, and Big Papi was a lot worse. Like Franmil was a lot better. Franmil has a season of 37 homers and 30 homers, like separately, like two separate seasons of like 37 and 30 homers. Those are way better than Ortiz ever did with the Twins. And Ortiz was with the Twins like 2 more years than Franmil was with the Guardians. So like, we all know how wonderful and terrific Ortiz became, and I don't want to put that on Franmil, but like at the time when Ortiz went to the Red Sox, no one cared. No one was interested in David Ortiz. He went by David Arias. I mean, he wasn't even called David Ortiz at the time. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Franmil definitely is in a great place to succeed. Wrigley is like one of the best parks to homer in. If he gets like out of 81 home games, if he gets like 50 of them where the wind's blowing out, he could be a 40+ homer guy next year. So I'm super in on Franmil Reyes for next year. For this year, probably more of a needs thing, but I'm definitely looking him in most leagues. I got him in NL only Tout Wars. Out of $1,000 fab, I bid $109, and I got him. It was I don't even think it was necessarily. Let's see how badly I overbid. Well, I overbid by about $40, but whatever.
Yeah, got to make sure you get them.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's NL only, and plus my team sucks, so it really is
just keeping other teams from moving.
Yeah,
really,
just something to make me a little bit more excited for my own team. So it's more of a a masturbatory exercise here. But yeah, I love Franmil Reyes. I think he's great.
Yeah, I actually think unless you need stolen bases, I think Franmil is the pickup over both of the prospects we just discussed, just because he's already slotting in the middle of a lineup. We know like the Cubs have nowhere to go, so there's no reason for them not to give him every opportunity to turn it around and be, the Franmil we've already seen before. So I think actually Franmil is my pickup of these three, unless you absolutely need speed.
Yeah, and for people who are curious, I don't know if they are, but Grisham went for $270 out of 1,000, and I said, I got Franmil for 109. So yeah, it was a lot cheaper to get Franmil. So yeah, and like we said, 15 minutes ago, Grisham may be out of a job when Albies returns, and guess who has Albies in that league? What? Oh, doing the robot. For people who are not watching on YouTube, I am doing the robot. Okay.
Yep, yet another injury to add to Gray's NL only roster.
yeah. Hey, this is Gray and this is me in March. Hey, here's Gray in March. Oh my God, I got Tatis. I got Albies. I got Chris Sale. What could go wrong? This is the best. My team is so good. I'm doing the robot in March. Okay, anyway.
Yeah. There's some bolts and things have been falling loose, and now it's crickety, and it needs a WD-40.
Yeah. My robot
sorts of things going.
Duct
tape is everywhere now.
My robot is falling over and needs a new battery. Someone plug my robot in, please.
No, a guy who might have gotten a new battery is Joey Meneses. I think I'm saying that right.
Menzies. Joey Meneses.
Okay.
It's that time of the month. No, I don't know if it's Menzies. It's funnier to say Menzies, but I don't know how to say his name.
But yes, he has 5 home runs, Gray, in just 10 games with the Nats. He had 20 home runs over 96 games this year in AAA, hitting 286, 341, 489. I mean, I picked him up where he was available just to see how long this lasts. But are you counting on this kind of going? This power has not really been something he's shown in the minors.
Yeah, no,
Like
this is a hot, this is a, what?
like ever. Like he's never
Yeah,
done this. He's
ever,
been in the
yeah.
minors forever.
Yeah. I mean, he hit what 20 homers, and well, he's 30 years old. He's a quad A. He's a quad A player. Yeah, it's Joey Meneses versus the world. I mean, he's a quad A player who happens to be up right now playing against like not very good pitchers, as mentioned earlier about like, it's like there's a lot of bad pitchers right now. And even the good pitchers could be getting winded by this part of the season. So, yeah, I mean, and he's also, it's like, this is something too that like in the Nationals lineup's so bad that like you get to a guy like, it's like you go through the Cesar Hernandez's and you go, you throw to like the Lane Thomases and then you throw to like a Victor Robles and you're like, well, if Joey Meneses is going to hit a homer, who cares? It doesn't matter. Like if you're the opposing pitcher, it's like, yeah, I just throw strikes to all these guys. I mean, Nelson Cruz is 58 years old. Like this doesn't matter. We're winning by 7 runs. It's the Nationals. Just groove a pitch to Joey Meneses. So yeah, he might be seeing easier pitches than he would if like the Nationals were good. I don't know, maybe. He's also just a hot bat, so whatever.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I've been offered Caleb Killian for him. I don't love Caleb Killian, although he is a Cubs prospect and maybe one of our better pitching prospects. I am accepting the deal. I just figured I'd wait until we were on the podcast to accept it just so I could officially do it on here. So, yeah, I'm making that move. I'm trading him. I just added him for, I believe, $69 in Fab, and now I'm trading him.
Wow. It's exciting. Yeah, we got breaking news. Beat On's team, breaking news.
Yep. So me and the Itch have made another deal. Let's talk about Drew Rasmussen's close call here. All of you who tweeted that it was going to happen, that's your fault that it didn't happen. I blame all of you.
That is true.
He missed some time with the hamstring injury earlier this year, so he's only at 99 and 2/3 innings, Gray. 82 Ks, a 2.80 ERA, 108 WHIP. I mean, he's looked like the pitcher we thought he could be when he's been on the mound. He's just kind of missed some starts here and there. Where do you think he's coming in next year among starting pitchers? I mean, the K rate probably isn't enough to get him overly high, but I mean, he's looked really good.
Yeah, no, completely. I mean, you said only 99 and 2/3 innings for a Rays pitcher. I think he's probably. I mean, well, McClanahan has probably got a lot of innings, but yeah, I mean, with all their openers and like Jeffrey Springs has been pitching for 3 months now, and he can't go more than 4 2/3. It's like, I mean, with Rasmussen, it was like the fact that he was actually, was throwing a Maddox on Sunday was the only reason I think he was even in to the 9th inning. Like if he wasn't throwing a perfect game, he probably would have been out in the 6th. Anyway, I mean, like you said already with the K rate, I don't know. I mean, I could see him being like in the grand scheme of things, like a number 4. I don't know. He might be overdrafted because his ERA. If his ERA stays below 3 going into the offseason, there's a potential here that he gets overdrafted next year. But because his K rate is so whatever, I mean, I could kind of see him as like a number 4 or number 5 next year, like a Ryan Yarbrough when we liked Ryan Yarbrough. So that's going back 2 years now. But yeah, like, not really drafted that high. I don't think because of the K rate. I don't have. I like him. I mean, I have him in leagues. I don't mind him because of the ratios are decent right now. But if he started giving up runs, it also wouldn't shock me because he is getting by a little bit on like, he's inducing weak contact and his slider is really good. So, especially against righties, And there's more righties than lefties. Wow, breaking news. Yeah. So I don't mind him, but he's more of like a 4 or 5, I think.
Yeah, I mean the best team in his division, the Yankees, is so right-handed based. I mean everything works for him against at least the best hitting team in his own division,
Right.
and then 65% of the majors. So yeah, I mean I like his pitch mix. He's got the fastball, cutter, slider. I kind of wish he had a pitch that went opposite, just because everything kind of moves in the same direction a little bit.
It all goes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it moves in different speeds and it breaks in different ways. So it's working so far. He's been sub 3, I mean, over the last 170 innings that he's pitched. So really hard to complain about the numbers he's put up over the last 2 years.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So we'll look for him kind of in that middle upper, I think is the right area for him next year as we start looking at pitchers. And the innings is always going to be a concern, as you mentioned, with Tampa Bay, unless you are just a true ace for them.
Right.
I mean, we might as well just put my AL only squad on here, given how bad they're doing after kind of the second half. But let's talk about a few players that have not really done their job here in the second half, and maybe more pumpkin than the stagecoach at this point. Gray, Joe Musgrove, since mid-July, has a 5.76 ERA, a 1.32 WHIP, 21.3 K rate, 4.1 walk rate. He's gotten lit up by the Rockies twice, once on the road, once at home, and the Mets. Does still have a sub-3 ERA on the season, so the season numbers look good. I mean, I feel like we talked about second half Joe Musgrove all season, and it's kind of showing up.
Yeah. I mean, I was saying I was a broken record. I mean, there's commenters who were making fun of me for saying it so much because, I mean, I said it so much. I repeated myself like ad nauseum about Joe Musgrove being a first half guy versus a second half guy. So yeah, I mean, if you didn't pay attention, that's that's on you.
Yep, that's your own fault for not listening to us. And I was even lower on Musgrove second half than Gray was. So that's on you. Shane McClanahan, so nobody really saw anything bad coming from, but his fastball velocity has been dropping slightly each month. He started at over 97.5 miles per hour. He's down like a full tick to 96.5. His last start was actually under 96. Throwing more curves and changeups, so he's trying to kind of junk ball his way through it while the fastball velocity isn't there. Are we worried about finishing out the season for him and then looking forward to next year? Any concerns? He kind of did this last year too, so I just kind of think he eventually just needs to he'll build up the arm strength.
Yeah, no, I think you're 100% correct. I think there's just too many innings at this point. Hopefully, I don't have McClanahan in leagues where it matters for me, but hopefully they shut him down like soon in September. I wouldn't mind seeing him get shut down like early September, to be honest. He probably won't be. I wouldn't be surprised if he throws like 165 innings, 170. Right now he's at 134. So, that's almost a full month's worth of innings. I'm saying he's still going to throw, roughly 40 to 50 more innings, maybe. Hopefully not. I wouldn't mind seeing him get shut down in like the next 20 innings. Maybe a phantom injury, something, because he is. I mean, you even said with the velocity, his velocity's down a little bit recently. I think he's just like laboring because of just the innings taxing his arm. So yeah, I like him still. His numbers are still amazing. Like, I have no issues with him. Like, in general, I do think he's probably tiring a little bit.
Right. So, I mean, I guess what I'm going to ask you is, like, if you're trying to trade for an ace pitcher here at the deadline, trying to rack up some Ks, chase down somebody, maybe not Shane McClanahan.
No. I mean, you're fighting a losing battle at this point. If you're trying to trade for innings, I mean, there's only so many innings to go around.
Oh yeah.
I guess it depends on the league and how much trading you can do. But yeah, I think you're probably better off just like, if it's a shallow enough league, you're probably just fine just picking up like 2-star pitchers at this point, like good matchups, obviously. But yeah, I mean, McClanahan wouldn't be someone I'd trade for in a redraft league right now, though.
Yeah, shout out Streaminator. If you have any questions about where to stream and when to stream, that's the greatest place to go. That's where everybody at Rasball goes. Rudy does all the work. Why would we not use all of his work? Yeah, I mean, I have McClanahan in the AL only league, or one of the AL only leagues you're talking about, so I would really like him not to get shut down. So I kind of need him to get it back together and also continue pitching well, so that I can have a chance. That's that same AL only league I led the segment with, where my team is just slowly deteriorating through the season. And since the itch is my primary prospect source and he's my main competition in the league, he has all of the prospects.
Yeah, that's not good.
No, not great.
No, not great when you're relying on the guy who you're competing against.
No, it's not. It's like you playing in guys that we get all our news from. It's just it's tough.
Yeah. Those are the hardest leagues. Now, I don't want to sidetrack this too much, but the hardest leagues I'm in are the ones where I'm in leagues with the guys who write like the Roto World blurbs, because they are so on top of the news. It's like trying to get a closer before them. It's like you got to be watching the game, basically.
Yeah, you got to watch the injured pitcher go off, make your claim, and maybe you got a shot. Speaking of pitchers here, I mean, Josh Hader, he was the best closer in the game for like the last 3 years or so. He's gotten it together after the All-Star break for the most part. He had that kind of bump before the All-Star break, but he had his first bad outing in San Diego versus San Francisco last week. Hasn't pitched since then and hasn't registered a save in San Diego yet. Are we worried yet, Gray? Like, is there something we're worried? Like, closers, relief pitchers have terrible shelf lives. Are we witnessing a change at the top of the closers, and is he still counted among them?
Yeah, no, I'm not worried, but I will say that, like everyone convinces themselves, they do it with ace pitchers, ace starters as well, but people convince themselves that like drafting like a Josh Hader and like the top like 20 picks overall is like a good move. And then you get to like a middle of August and he has a 4.66 ERA and you're like, well, I mean, the saves are there, the Ks are there, but the ratios aren't. Like, it's not good. I mean, you're like a guy who's already only giving you 4 categories and he's like dropping the ball on 2 of them. It's like, that's not good. I don't know. It's so bizarre to me that this is always like, it feels like the narrative all the time of like, oh yeah, you got to get draft a top closer. Like, what? Why? Why? I don't know. Anyway, it's I guess a side note. I think Josh Hader is going to be okay. His peripherals look fine. I wouldn't have drafted him, but I think if you did, you hold on and hope he rights the ship. Like his K per 9 and his walks look identical to last year when he had a 1.23 ERA. So, they also look kind of identical to the year before when he had a 3.79 ERA. So it shows you how fickle ERA is, especially when, his biggest issue seems to be his homers allowed. So if he puts on a guy and gives up a homer, like he throws so few innings, if he gives up like, 1 homer a month, that's already like, that's going to mess up his ERA. And he does walk a decent amount of guys. So there's a chance that when he gives up that homer, there is going to be guys on base. So, yeah, I mean, he's fine, but I don't think he's really like, I wouldn't have drafted him. I don't know. But yeah, I think he's okay in general.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think either of us were drafting closers as early as they were going in this year. So I really don't see, either of us with Hader on many rosters. Maybe if it's a salary cap type of thing where you can put a number on it and he goes for cheaper than he should. but that's really the only situation that either of us are going to end up with him. I mean, all the velocity looks good. The movement actually looks better than it was early in the season. So I really think this is just a blip for Hader. I think he'll be perfectly fine. Like, none of the numbers look off. But I think you're right in that when we're talking about relief pitchers, it needs to be noted that like they throw 60 innings. In 60 innings, 5 runs can make the difference between a pristine ERA and an ERA you're like, that's pretty
Yeah.
middling stuff here. So
Right. Yeah, no, totally. Like, in as few innings as he throws, that like if he gives up, 5 homers in the season, which isn't that much, but 5 homers in the season, that could make his ERA be like over 3.5, which is like,
yeah, absolutely. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden he's not the number one closer. I mean, he's not going to be the number one closer this year. So just kind of, again, remember that for next year, everybody. The toughest 2 positions year over year, closers and RPs or catchers.
Absolutely,
Catchers and closers.
absolutely in one ear and out the other.
Yep.
No one will remember it. Nope.
All right. Let's move on to another struggler here. Jameson Taillon. Home run, fly balls up about 5% first half to second half. Everything else kind of looks in line, but the results have not been in line with what he was doing first half. I mean, it's been bad, Gray. Is it time to cut bait on Taillon? Because I really can't see anything in the numbers that's really changed.
Yeah, I mean, he did pitch well on Sunday, right? Against the Red Sox.
Yes, he did. Well, 7 innings, 3 earned. So, I mean, it's a very solid outing.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you sort of expect from him. I mean, he's so contingent on good command that, like, if his command leaves him just even a little bit, because he does give up homers. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's necessarily, he wasn't ever as good as he purported or seemed to be in the first half, but I don't think he's really bad either. Like, he's probably a high, like I would say a 3.8 to 4.05 ERA, and somewhere in that range, which is maybe, what is that, a 5 or a 6 fantasy starter, probably closer to a 6 in shallower leagues, which means he's more of a streamer, which means you can probably drop him in a 12-team mixed league or shallower. He's a deeper league guy. In an AL only, yeah, he's fine for AL only, but everyone's fine for AL only.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're just in a rotation, you're on an AL only lineup. I mean, it's been kind of random. Like, he had a bad game against Seattle and a bad game like at Baltimore of all places. So like it's kind of hard. I think you're just rolling him out there. He does go deep into games, which is a rare thing these days. And he does it for a team, obviously, and the Yankees, while not playing particularly well right now, does provide him with a chance for wins pretty regularly as well. So I think I'm with you. He's not as good as what we saw earlier this season, but he's not as bad as he's been this second half. I think eventually he kind of just settles back down in the middle and is kind of like a 4 ERA guy.
Mm-hmm.
A guy that I think, I think there's something wrong here. Rafael Devers, he was dealing with a hamstring. I think it's lingering because in the second half, he has 13 games, 55 plate appearances, and he's hitting 176, 236, 412. I mean, we're talking about one of the best hitters in baseball, hitting under 200. Like, there's got to be something wrong here, Gray.
Yeah, it might be an injury. It might be something else. I would guess injury. Yeah, I mean, this isn't him though. I don't think this is necessarily like prophetic of like what's going to happen for like next year or something. I just think he's slumping or he's injured. I'm not really that concerned about him in the big picture, but yeah, he's not been great. I'll be honest. I've seen better.
Yes, we have. I'm still rolling him out there, just hoping he turns it around. But it's looked bad. I mean, we saw a little bit of power, so maybe that's signs that things are starting to turn around for him. But But
So
overall,
crazy how like he's so good in the. I mean, he was so great in the first half that he still has a 305 average overall, even though he hit 176 so far in the second half. Just shows you. I mean, he was really good in the first half. So maybe this is like evening things out. So he comes down and like he ends the season with like 30 homers and a 280 average, which would kind of be in line with last year. A little bit down on power, but not too bad. So yeah, I don't know. He hasn't been good though recently. I do agree.
Yeah, so just something to monitor. And if you're in a shallower league where when guys are slumping, you have really good replacement. I mean, it's a possibility here while Devers is struggling that maybe you look to replace him. I say that he'll go hit 405 home runs this week, but I'm just saying like he doesn't look right at the plate right now.
Yeah, no, I actually in a deeper league, I have Rafael Devers, and my options are Rafael Devers or Harold Castro. I didn't make up the name Harold Castro, so yeah, I think I'm going Devers. But agreed, in a shallower league, you do what you got to do.
Yeah, I mean, and Castro actually hasn't been playing terrible either. He just doesn't get the same kind of playing time.
Yeah, Harold Castro. A lot of people will be like, Harold Castro, is that the new Cuban leader? Or no, it's
his
not.
Brother. His brother's on the cousin
yeah.
side.
It's his cousin, yeah, but he's not. He's not even related, I don't think. Anyway.
Yes. Let's talk about a guy that moved during the trade deadline that is struggling. Josh Bell. Since joining San Diego, he is hitting 154, 313, 179. You did not hear that wrong. That is the correct order of numbers. 154, 313, 179. Ray, we said his power might go down, but good Lord.
Hey, how are the Padres playoffs looking? Their playoff aspirations.
Oh, good Lord.
Are like, the Padres were doing the Gray in March drafting Tatis robot about 2 weeks ago. The Padres are like, oh my God, we have the best team ever. Hey, who are we? The 1927 Padres? This is incredible. I love us. Hey, I love our team. We're amazing. And we get Tatis back soon? What? Oh, robot. Yeah, Josh Bell hasn't been great either, huh? I don't know. I mean, some of these are like small sample size issues, but yeah, hitting 154 when you also like Josh Bell this year hasn't really hit for power. So all he's been doing is hitting for average previously. So now that he's not hitting for average, I don't know. Like this could be, I wonder if there's a situation here where Josh Bell was benefiting like the Joey Meneses benefit that I said earlier with the Nationals. Like Josh Bell was batting behind Soto and in front of no one. So it's like, if you throw, like, why wouldn't you pitch to Josh Bell? It's not like it's like, whatever, who cares? There's no one else here, And now it's like he's hitting in the middle of a good lineup, so people are being more careful with him. Maybe. I don't know. It's too early to say because the sample size is too small, but yeah, it could be.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely small sample size. It's just really terrible numbers that you've been looking at if you've been starting Josh Bell since he got moved. I mean, when your slugging is about half of your OBP, that's pretty awful. He has one double since joining the team. No home runs, obviously. Just not good. Not good.
Not good.
And another guy who's been not good. It's partially my fault. I traded for him, so you just blame this one on me. JD Martinez in the second half, 167, 219, 227. Not quite as embarrassing, but maybe also just that much worse because his OBP is also terrible. And he's striking out 30% of the time right now, which is not JD Martinez. I'm worried that the bat is finally slowed to the point it's useless, Gray.
Yeah. Just Dong has become just doubles, and not even at this.
Just go
point.
Sit on the bench.
Yeah, just go sit on the bench and spell bench with a D. You idiot. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's like JD Martinez, like this is something that happens with like power hitters in general when they get older. Like we see it with like Joey Votto. It happened with Pujols. It happened with Miguel Cabrera. It's like, JD Martinez might have hit that wall where at a certain point, guys just don't hit the ball as far and as hard as they used to. And when they're, so prone to hitting the ball in the air and then their homer per fly ball falls, it's like suddenly they're just hitting 360-foot outs. And it's like, yeah, it's not good. It's not great, man. I don't know. I actually, in one league, I have JD Martinez. I benched him for Bubba Thompson, but that was because I needed speed. So, I mean, that shows you where we're at, I think, though, because like most years I would never bench JD Martinez for anyone, let alone Bubba Thompson.
Yeah. Again, very small sample size, but he has less than 15% line drives in August. He is hitting 52% ground balls, and he is hitting 11.1% infield fly balls. So more than 1 in every 10 balls he's put in play in August has been an infield fly ball. Not great. Not great, Gray. I traded for him for average in RBIs. I'm not getting anything out of it now. So just fantastic trade on my part. Let's go ahead and move into some of the bullpen stuff, Gray. We're about at an hour here. Who do you got as far as some bullpen news where some people might be able to pick up some saves here at the end of the season?
Speaking of guys who I've benched, I benched Clay Holmes last week. I also will be benching him this week. Unfortunately, I think his usefulness has sort of run out. We saw it. I mean, at least I saw it. I don't know if people watch the Yankees, but like I think it was like 2 weeks ago, he melted down, and he hasn't really been right since. Like his sinker is just not getting over the plate. His command he's lost his command. So, if he gets over the plate, he's over the plate, like the heart of the plate. And then if he's missing the plate, he's walking people, which he's doing a lot. So Aroldis Chapman, probably the guy. Scott Efros has been like good. I mean, he's been fine. Aroldis has had his own issues. I'm not saying this isn't a clear cut, like Aroldis steps in, but I would guess they try and get Aroldis the 9th inning. By the time they get to the playoffs, I would think they'd want to have one guy pitching the 9th and have that be Aroldis. If Clay Holmes can't figure it out, I would guess they'd want Aroldis. I don't think they want to get to the playoffs and have Scott F. Ross being the 9th inning closer. And then there's also, Carl Edwards Jr. has gotten saves randomly for the Nationals. I don't know why Finnegan is not getting the 9th. He was getting the 7th inning recently. I'm guessing that's because maybe a contract thing, like they don't want to get Finnegan. I don't know. Honestly, I'm guessing. But Finnegan, for whatever reason, has not been getting the 9th inning, which is not good if you want saves. And then in Milwaukee's just been kind of a mess. But Devin Williams, I would think, is still the closer. But he hasn't pitched really, as well as he was pitching in the 8th. Since he's taken over the 9th, it's been a little bit rocky. Taylor Rogers has been awful, though. So I don't think Taylor Rogers is taking over. So I would guess Devin Williams is going to stay in there. I mean, in Texas, Jonathan Hernandez has been the closer for whatever reason. They removed Barlow, and then Barlow went to the IL. So now Barlow, I think, is coming back soon, but I don't know if Barlow is going to get the saves. I think Jonathan Hernandez has been fine, and for whatever reason, I think they like him there in the 9th inning. So I don't know. I mean, that's sort of up in the air still. I'm not 100% sure how that's going to work out, but I think I would probably go Hernandez. And then in Philly, Sir Anthony Hopkins Dominguez has been, the closer more or less, even though they went out and got David Robertson, who's now he's pitched the 8th inning, I believe, the last 2 times. So, you go with what the managers are doing. And if a adult contemporary star, Rob Thomas, is, putting Sir Anthony in there, I guess he's the closer. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Sir Anthony's just as good a pitcher as Robertson, so like I can go either way there. But yeah, I mean, it's been Sir Anthony so far. I will say, I think in Milwaukee, Matt Bush has actually gotten 2 saves in his last 3 appearances. So if they use Devin Williams kind of in the firefighter role, where he's can come in the 7th, 8th, or 9th, maybe Matt Bush is the one that gets the closing opportunities over Taylor Rogers, even if you're looking to speculate on the Milwaukee situation. How about some waiver guys? You got some bats for the people?
Yeah, hey, Vinny Pascadino, eh? Hey, where you from, Staten Island? Huh? He's been a hot bat recently. He loves Sicilian pizza and supersada. I love a Vinny Pascatino, huh? He was actually on my bench in one of my leagues for a weekly league. That was a real stupid move. Anyway, he hit 4 homers last week on my bench, which was great. Son of a bench. As I said earlier in the show, I picked up David Fletcher. He's been hitting leadoff. He's got a good average. He's a hit tool guy first and foremost. He's not going to do anything else. Maybe a steal or 2, not much. Jose Iglesias has actually been hitting really well, even outside of Coors. And then AJ Pollock has been like a hot potato. He's been awful this year, like really bad. But in the last, I think 2 games, he's homered. And maybe La Russa plays him some more. So I don't know. You could look at him. And another guy I mentioned earlier, Harold Castro, no relation, has been hitting well, good, I guess. A hot potato again. And then Taylor Ward I believe he had a homer this weekend. He's been decent, I guess. Yeah. So there's some guys.
Yeah, you kind of with Taylor Ward, just kind of hoping he works his way back into the top of the lineup where he was kind of solidified for a little while, and then they've been playing with him for last month or so. So hopefully he's coming back into the top. Any pitchers here, Gray, that you wanted to let the people know, or I can run through some?
Yeah, I mean, Jose Suarez has picked up what Reed Demers has been putting down. Like the Angels are now looking like they have a couple arms heading into next year, which would be nice. Jose Suarez has been good. Cutter Crawford has been decent. I've been saying him for a couple weeks now. He's been like the one highlight for the Red Sox this year. For like new guys. Yeah, I don't know who else. You got any names?
Drew Smiley and Cal Quantrill, I believe they both have some pretty solid matchups. I think Chris Bubik is a 2-start pitcher this week, so if he's out there, and again, I think I've been saying his name for the last few weeks as well, so apologies if that's not helping. Graham Ashcraft, and I think James Caprielin is also a 2-start pitcher, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go.
Yeah, there's some waiver names for you on both sides. If you have specific questions about your trades, waivers, whatever it might be, you can always come to the comments and ask us there on Rasball or on YouTube. As always, you can find us on Twitter and ask us there. I am at RazBdon. Gray is, of course, the at Rasball account. And until next time, good luck in your leagues as we get ready to come down the stretch here.
Yeah. Late.